All right. We are live. Shout out to everybody in the building. Appreciate each and every one of you. We about to definitely get into this thing. And as you know, I'm still dotting the I's and crossing the T's and everything. But as you can see in the title and in the thumbnail, former President Trump found liable for sexually abusing and defaming Jean Carroll, her name. Jury awards Carroll $5 million. Awards her $5 million. Essentially off of her word from 30 years ago. And I believe they said some supposed eyewitnesses. Not 100% sure on that. But we're going to get into it. We're going to break it all down. But strap on in. By all means, strap on in. Hit the like button. I see Hoop Jargon down there says waiting on Bernard. Yep. Y'all gonna stay. Y'all gonna stay waiting on your boy. The waiting game ain't going nowhere. But I'm trying to find all my stuff to get it set up. I can't find what I'm looking for. Cannot find what I'm looking for, but I know it's here somewhere. I can't even find it. Okay, we'll get to it. But with that being said, let's strap on in. Where's my intro? Let's get ready to go. Let's get it.
Peace, folks. This is X from TPOT Media. Open your mind and wake your black ass up. You know what time it is. Hit that damn like button as you make your way in the door. Grab a seat, settle in, get ready. It's the Grown Man Hour with your host, my man, Bernard Riley.
All right, what's up and what's going on, everybody? Appreciate each and every one of you. In the middle of trying to get this thing started. Shout out to each and every one of you. We about to get into this. But as we start things out here, shout out to the Patreons. Do appreciate each and every one of you. I don't know for sure if this is the absolute updated list. I don't know 100% for sure and it might not be. No, this is not the updated list. This is not the updated list. But shout out to all the Patreons. I got to get the updated list on deck for the show today. Got to get the updated list on deck for the show today. So my bad on that one. My bad on that one. So yeah, we got to get the updated list. But shout out to everybody in the building. Hold on for 1 second. Hold on for 1 second. Got to mute up real quick. All right, had to take care of something, had to handle something. Do apologize for that. Do apologize for that. But shout out to everybody in the building. Shout out to each and every one of you. Shout out to Hoop Jargon. Shout out to who else we got in here. I think that's Geronimo Red. 36 people in the building already. Make sure y'all hit the like button Make sure y'all hit the like button before we get things started here. Make sure you hit the like button before we get things started here. I do apologize for stumbling out the blocks as usual. Do apologize for that. But we about to get into this. We about to get into this. This thing has been ongoing and looming with President Trump. Been ongoing and looming, and the trial actually happened. Going to be playing aspects of that, aspects of went down with that, and going to be breaking down this the situation here. The situation here. We're on one hand, we can't pretend like okay, he did say he was a pussy grabber in chief. He did say grab him by the pussy. He did say that. I'm not gonna. So it's like that. That got to get averaged into the equation, but the goofiness of it, the goofiness of it is that now that you've become all that who you are 30 years ago when you did that to a woman, 30 years ago, if you got physical, got touchy, got handsy with a woman, you know, who probably was feeling you, who probably was feeling the celebrity allure mystique of Donald Trump, and he probably made a play on her in some way, you know, they use those words against him. You grab him by the pussy. They use those words against him. They use those words against him, and it's coming back to bite him. Because now you got to pay some chick $5 million who was allegedly grabbed by the pussy or physically, sexually assaulted, touched, groped, mishandled in some kind of way. In some kind of way. That is essentially the deal. That is essentially what's going on. That is essentially what's going on. So we about to get into that. We about to get into that. So strap on in. Strap on in. But shout out to the patrons. Shout out to the patrons. I gotta get the updated list for later on in the show. Gotta get the updated list for later on in the show. I don't got the updated one ready to go. You're asking a good question there, asking about the statute of limitations, asking about what happened to statute of limitations. Yeah, what happened? What happened? No, you could still end up having to pay. Now, there's no jail time on the table here. There's no jail time on the table here, but he still did indeed have to pay. Now, here's the deal. Let me do this really quick. Let me do this really quick. All right. Let me pull this up and get right into it.
Who accused former President Donald Trump of rape. And she's looking very happy as she left a New York court today, just minutes after a jury found the.
Of course, she looking happy he got worded with $5 million. And why can every other sector just say the R word without having to worry about getting demonetized? She just said it without the G. We be saying grape. We be sounding crazy. We have to talk like children over here. How come other people get away with just saying it however they want to say it? They say it with their chest over there. We gotta make up words. You listen to Coach Greg Adams. He's speaking a whole different language. But on the news, they can just the news can start their YouTube channel and they can say grape without the G. It's amazing that they can do that.
Former president liable for sexually abusing her. And one question is, what impact will this have on the 2024 presidential campaign? Stephen Fabian is at the courthouse with the very latest.
No, I literally pulled this video from YouTube. News. Hold on. You said Hoop Jargon is saying that ain't YouTube. It technically is, because all the news media understand that more people get their news off of YouTube than what they get it off of watching TV. More people get their news off the internet than what they get it on watching TV. So yes, they do play the TV game, but they take all their TV stuff and they make it formatted for YouTube. They They play the title, tags, and thumbnail game just like all of us. And they stuff is in an algorithm just like all of us. Now, maybe because they make TV money, they don't care about losing YouTube money, but I don't think so. I think that they get to stay monetized no matter what they say or what they show. But be that's neither here nor there. That's neither here nor there. Now let's get into it.
E. Carroll was all smiles as she left court after the verdict. As the verdict came in here inside the courtroom in Lower Manhattan, E. Carroll nodded her head in approval. As the jury left the room, she gave a big hug to her attorney, Roberta Kaplan. After just 3 hours of deliberations, the jury determined she would be awarded $5 million in damages. The decision came down much quicker than anyone expected. Networks broke into programming to deliver the verdict.
And we are coming on the air with news about former President Donald Trump.
Trump responded on his Truth Social platform. I have absolutely no idea who this woman is. This verdict is a disgrace, a continuation of the greatest witch hunt of all time.
We got the audio of him giving that speech. We're going to play that in a second. But he's claiming that he knows not who this woman is. He's saying he don't know who this woman is. Now, if that's true, that he don't know who this woman is, it is that bad out there to where a chick who does not know you don't know her, but you're famous, and she can claim that you did something. And depending on how that case goes, based off her word, you could potentially end up having to pay, in this case, $5 million for emotional damage and defamation. That's outright ridiculous.
It was strange. Part of me was obviously very happy that Donald Trump was not branded a rapist.
Trump was found civilly liable, meaning there is no criminal penalty. The jury returned with $2 million for sexual abuse, plus another $3 million for defamation. Grand total in damages, $5 million.
Now, what that essentially means, and this is what the jury was faced with, in order, because charging him with full-blown grape was on the table. That was on the table. The judge did explain to them, in order for that to be the case, in order for that to happen, that you would have to basically prove there was some form of penetration. They obviously knew that they couldn't do that, but the one thing that they felt that they could prove or could say, and it would float and not sound crazy, that I forgot where they was at already. I think they were in a mall. that he in a dressing room. We're going to get into that in a dressing room or by a dressing room, that he assaulted her in some way. So here's the tricky part about all this. When you're listening to these cases and all these Me Too cases, you got to understand this. Sexual assault, it could range anything from full-blown forceful penetration to a pat on the butt. Forceful penetration or a little pat on the butt. All of that gets roped into the same thing. All of that gets roped into the same thing in terms of as far as a sexual assault goes. It all get roped into the same thing. So like that's the deal, that's the situation. That's the deal, that's the situation. So even though they didn't charge him with the big R, he didn't found liable of doing the big R grape. He didn't get found liable of doing of that. They what this does to just reputation, the fact that he was on trial for that, but they stuck him with a lesser charge of something that could be small as patting on the butt, or like what Brenda said in the chat room, no more hugs. That's why that Keanu Reeves, when he take pictures of women, they get in close, they put their arms around him, he put his arms around them, but he keep his hands like that. He don't touch them. He don't touch them. Shout out to Keanu Reeves. He giving them air hugs. He give them air hugs. But it gets dumped. It get dropped down. All right. It get dropped down to sexual assault. But in the mind of everybody, it's all the same. It's all the same. They said he found liable for sexual assault, had to pay $5 million. So the big R might as well be pinned on him. The big R might as well be pinned on him. He got to pay $5 million for the sexual assault of a woman who he claims he don't know. And it was, I believe, 30 years ago.
Were you shocked when you heard that number, $5 million?
Well, if they were to find Trump liable, we knew that it would potentially be in the millions. It's a high number. It's a resounding verdict in her favor, and it's higher than the one expert who spoke in the case would have given. It is a resounding award.
The jury found Trump not liable for raping E. Jean Carroll in the dressing room at Bergdorf Goodman nearly 3 decades ago, as she claimed.
In no way, shape, or form is this a compromise. This is a clear win for E. Jean Carroll. She won on both of.
I got to be petty and show y'all something. Okay, I shouldn't be petty. Remember when I told y'all on the last show that for whatever reason, big noses just don't look good on women? And even white women with big noses, they get surgery. Like, this is a white girl with a really big nose. Given a teaser trailer, because the app that I use to do my thumbnails, I like played around with it. I did basically the stuff that women do when they doctoring up their pictures and photoshopping their pictures. I took some women and I made their noses smaller and made their noses bigger, and then just sat back and looked at them and see if they lost a point, gained a point. I did that. It was kind of petty. I was doing it for fun, but I may do content on it. Shut up, Jackie, saying attack ideas and not people. I'm attacking the concept, the idea of featureism. I may do a show that may very well, the show might be called Featureism is Real. Featureism is real. Because, okay, I'll go on and say it. I took this woman here and I made her nose smaller. This is stuff I get distracted with, by the way. I took this woman, put her in the little app, the thing I do to make my thumbnails. I made her nose smaller and then just sat back and looked at her. We gave her a little skinny, narrow nose, and yeah, she gained like 1.5 points just off a little skinny nose. Like, yeah. But anyway, that may be some content later down the road. But all right, now let's get back into the ideas of what she was saying.
Decades ago, as she claimed.
In no way, shape, or form is this a compromise. This is a clear win for E. Jean Carroll. She won on both of her counts, battery and defamation. Just because the jury didn't find by a preponderance of the evidence that an actual rape took place
doesn't mean you're ugly if you're a woman with a big nose. It just means that smaller, narrow noses, or just smaller noses, smaller noses look better on women. That's just it's a thing. It's a thing. But all right, getting back into it.
Doesn't mean that she didn't win on the battery count.
Trump's train wreck deposition and that now infamous videotape.
Battery and defamation. Just because the jury didn't find by a preponderance of the evidence that an actual rape took place doesn't mean that she didn't win on the battery count.
Trump's train wreck deposition and that now infamous videotape are thought to have played key roles in the jury's decision.
And you say, and again, this has become very famous in this video, I just start kissing them. It's like a magnet, just kiss. I don't even wait. And when you're a star, they let you do it. You can do anything. Grab them by the you can do anything. That's what you said, correct?
Well, historically, that's true with stars.
Will the verdict impact?
Now, one could argue that what he described is a form of assault. Let me make myself bigger when I say this. One could argue that what he described in that video that she referenced, that is a form of assault. But he also said when you're a star, they let you do it. If they're allowing you to do it, then they're consenting. But you did it first without getting the consent first. However, they were okay with you doing it. When that's how it operates, and I've played countless videos and done countless things, showed studies that women, when it comes to a first kiss or first anything, they want the guy to just be spontaneous and just do it. And when you understand that, you then understand that sexual assault is not based off of what you do. It's based off how they feel after you do it, which means they have essentially succeeded at the fine art of legislating their feelings. They've succeeded at the fine art of legislating their feelings to where, on one hand, without getting outright verbal consent, you could walk up to a woman, you could pull her close to her, you can, rub on the small of her back, reach down and, touch it, rub on her butt a little bit and, kissing the neck and ear area. You didn't exactly get full blown permission, but you felt the vibe. You felt the vibe. That's the magic word that women like to use. If the vibe is right, well, what if he's feeling a vibe that you're not feeling? It's like, it's okay, so that vibe goes all the way up to full-blown sexual assault that could cost $5 million later? Or is it, or do women need to, I don't know, change their nature? Change their nature and make it just, listen, if they want to play that game of a guy only makes a move if he asks you directly in a very direct way, and then she says yes, and then they proceed forward. Now, women don't like that. They like they like the guy who from their perspective, who has game or has that synergy, that energy, that spark, that vibe, is the guy who just feels it and goes with it. That guy who just feels it and goes with it. But that just feeling it and going with it, when the mood is right, when the moment is right, when things is feeling right, that can get turned into full-blown sexual assault. Apparently 30 years later, and cost $5 million. I knew I smelled white diamond perfume. Let me see what Sexy Red talking about. All right, she says, it's funny until it happens to somebody you love. Am I right? What the hell are you talking about? I'm pretty sure there are people that I love, female family members who have been out in situations with men, and a vibe or spark or something was jumping off, and the guy made a move, and that was the move. And if they was feeling the same vibe and spark that he was feeling, then they went with it. If they wasn't, they said no. They put their hand up. They gave them the Heisman and said no. So what you talking about? We're not talking about a forcible penetration. We're talking about a guy making a physical, sexual or romantic gesture towards a woman. That's what we're talking about. We're talking about a guy who you may or may not be feeling coming in for a hug and putting his hands on the small of your back. We talking about that. That all lines up in what they would call a sexual assault. Until it happens.
Trump's 2024 campaign.
That is something that's going to be worn as an albatross around the former president's neck throughout the campaign.
At the end of the day, the voters are going to vote based on issues and policies and what's happening to their lives. And I think they're a little numb to the fact that this has been 6 years of investigation after investigation.
After the verdict came down, the judge advised the jurors that while they have the right to speak out, he recommended they stay silent. Meantime, Mr. Trump's lawyers say they will appeal.
Dun, 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 dun.
Has found former President Donald Trump liable for sexually abusing and then defaming writer E. Jean Carroll. The unanimous verdict was reached after about 3 hours of deliberations. Graham Cates has the latest from New York.
A jury found former President Donald Trump liable for sexually abusing the writer E. Jean Carroll in a New York City department store in the mid-1990s. The jury awarded Carroll $5 million in damages. Carroll has said that she bumped into Trump in a Bergdorf Goodman in New York as she was about to leave it.
All right, yeah, this is one I was looking for right here. All right.
Using the writer E. Jean Carroll in a New York City department store in the mid-1990s. The jury awarded Carroll $5 million in damages. Carroll has said that she bumped into Trump in a Bergdorf Goodman in New York as she was about to leave it, and that they ultimately walked through the store, engaging in at first playful, joking banter before this light scene turned dark when he assaulted her in a dressing room.
Okay. What do y'all see wrong with that? What do y'all hear that's obviously wrong, that just sound goofy about this story? Now, let me just say this. There's been some times when I've listened to a story and it ain't sound right, it didn't pass the sniff test, and then later some facts and details came out, and I was like, oh, okay, all right, well, okay, I wasn't quite right on that one. Okay. This one right here. He said they were walking through the mall together, having a friendly, flirting conversation. Did he say that? Let me make sure he said that right. Let me make sure he said that right.
Through the store, engaging in at first playful, joking banter before this light scene.
Okay, playful, joking banter. Okay, that's if you just that qualifies as, you know, two men, two women. They meet at the store. They bump into each other. I mean, they didn't know each other, and they engaging in playful, joking banter walking through the mall. Okay.
Turned dark when he assaulted her in a dressing room.
Okay, do you see how he skipped a whole flight of stairs? Okay, so were they walking through the aisles at Macy's having a playful, joking banter conversation, and then he grabbed her like a Nightcrawler from the X-Men and teleported into the dressing room? Like I mean, did that did they teleport into the dressing room? That's what I want to know. How did they go from walking through the aisles at Macy's, playful, joking banter with each other, then it turned dark when he grabbed her and teleported into the dressing room? He's skipping a whole flight of stairs. What is RM saying right there? Said, I love how Bernard Riley brings down fancy Shamancy Bergendorf Goodmans to the level of basic mall. Have you know, RM, Macy's is like the most high-end store in the mall in my hometown. Macy's is as good as it gets. Okay, I got this blazer from Macy's. God damn it, it was on sale, and I like it. So no, put that back up there. Put it up. What did it say? Briggendorf's. I don't know. I don't even know what that is. I don't even know what that is. What it was? Oh, I got it. What's the name of this place? Bergendorf's Goodman's. No, I don't know what that is. That's foreign language to me. That's foreign language to me. I don't know what Bergendorf Goodman's is. No, never heard of it. Never heard of it. They was at Macy's. All right. No, even worse. They was at Target. Okay. Donald Trump ran into this chick at Target. Oh no, I get. No, I'm looking at the comment in the back. No, I understand. It's the one. Yeah. That's where they was at. Understand where they say they was at, but I'm just for my version of the story. They was at Target. Now they was at. Don't y'all call it Tarjay? They was at Tarjay. That's where Trump bumped into this chick at Tarjay. They walking through the malls. I mean, they walking through the aisles at Target, laughing and joking. And as men, like we've been there. You've met chicks out. If you meet a chick out or you go out to a store with a chick and you end up in the dressing room with her, we all know that was deliberate. We all know that was a deliberate, on purpose action. I've been in dressing rooms. You don't get there by accident. Y'all there walking through the store, y'all laughing, y'all joking, y'all having a good time. She grab a few items. Oh, I got to try these on. And then y'all walk towards the dressing room together. You look over your shoulder and then you walk on in with her and she know you coming in with her. And that just is what it is. Like that happens. Things go down in dressing rooms. We're adults. Shit went down in a dressing room. He didn't grab her like Nightcrawler when they was in the aisleways at Target and then teleport into the dressing room. They literally made a decision to go into that dressing room together. They did. All right. That's what happened. That's what happened. They went in that dressing room together. I need to leave comments alone. But hold on. Let me see. Let me see what's going on. Okay, I could see that. I was missing some information. I retract. Oh, she's saying she retract her previous statements. Wow. Sisterhood don't normally retract things. This is a groundbreaking, momentous occasion. This is one for the ages right here. This is definitely one for the ages. She retracted her statement once she saw the pure lunacy and nonsense of what was going on when Trump grabbed this chick and teleported into the dressing room.
New York as she was about to leave it, and that they ultimately walked through the store, engaging in at first playful, joking banter before this light scene turned dark when he assaulted her in a dressing room. Carroll's team called 11 witnesses.
I want to play the rest of the video, but there's so much that I got to pause it on because I was thinking about, what's the difference between, somebody who we could call red pill versus somebody we call blue pill. I think this is good. No, you sisterhood all day. Shut up. It's the epitome of blue pill when you hear a story like this and you see how he's saying that they were just playful banter and having a good time, and then the light scene turned dark when he took her into the dressing room. It's like only the most blue pill of men view the story that way, that woman is so innocent that a light scene turned dark when this evil man grabbed her and forced her into the dressing room, because no lady would just willfully on her own volition just go into the dressing room with a man she just met who's rich and famous. It's like stuff like that is the epitome of what we call blue pill. You have the wool and just the delusion over your eyes to the point to where you just can't hear normal stuff like that and just decode it. You can't read the matrix code through that window. You could just keep going with the metaphor. Like, you should be able to, like your radar should be going off when you hear stories like that.
Deal.
All right.
During the trial, some who testified that she confided to them in the moments and day after the alleged attack, but Trump called no witnesses, and Carroll's team called 11 witnesses during the trial, some who testified that she confided to them in the moments and day after the alleged attack, but Trump called no witnesses and did not show up at the trial at all. Ultimately, one of Carroll's attorneys told the jury, you have to decide whether all 11 of our witnesses committed perjury or whether Trump is lying. And the jury ultimately found that it was Trump who was lying.
Now, here's the thing. One, she's saying that 11, she said it's 11 people she confided in the day of or the day after. Like, if it was the day after, those don't count as witnesses. That just count as somebody who's saying that, yeah, she told me. Yeah, she told me back then. So we're not even talking about a situation with witnesses. That's one thing that I did think at one point. Because I said at the beginning, in the pre-intro ramble, I was like, it was alleged witnesses. But when I watched this one time, I was like, no, I'm not hearing witnesses. I'm hearing people that she allegedly told about it 30 years ago. So the jury had the task of saying, do we believe these 11 people who came up and say, yeah, she told me about it 30 years ago, versus the no witnesses that Trump, brought in? Because Trump didn't even show up to the thing, because he didn't even participate. He couldn't even be bothered to show up. So that is kind of shooting itself in the foot, but showing up adds to the spectacle. I don't know what his reasoning is, or his reasoning or his logic for not showing up. But either way it go, it was the word of 11 people. Now, it's a real simple question. Is it possible to find 11 people today who would be perfectly fine and okay with charging Trump up with some assault charges that could stop him from being president again? Do you think you could find 11 people willing to do that? It's like that's a no-brainer. It's like that's an automatic no-brainer that you could easily find 11 people. You could easily find 11 people who wouldn't mind kicking a little dirt on Trump. 11 people who didn't witness, but the alleged victim spoke to them about it 30 years ago. Could you find 11 people who are willing to say, yeah, I knew that woman and she spoke to me 30 years ago about it? Is that possible? Like, that's a resounding yes. Resounding yes. It's like, but that's what they're going on. It's just the word of a woman from 30 years ago with a shaky story about how they were walking through Walmart and it's getting trashy. It's getting trashier and trashier. They're gonna be in Goodwill by the end of the day. They was walking through Walmart, having fun. They bumped into each other at Walmart. They just having fun, laughing and joking, and then they teleported into the dressing room, and then the next day or later that day, there was 11 people who she told, hey, I ran into Donald Trump and he got frisky with me in the dressing room after he teleported me into the dressing room because I didn't walk back there with him. I didn't do the old trick of walking, shopping with a man and then, ooh, I gotta try this on, and then drape it over your shoulder and then start walking towards the dressing room and he follow you to the dressing room and then no, it is some goodwill hate over here. It is some goodwill. Well, not really. Goodwill. Nothing wrong with goodwill. Jackie get all her clothes from Goodwill. For those that don't know, she literally get all her clothes from Goodwill or thrift stores. That's what she said. But anyway, that's what happened. That's the nonsense. The last thing that I'm gonna touch on. Last thing I'm gonna play here. We're gonna look at his. We're gonna look at what we're gonna look at. We're gonna look at his response. Going to look at his response to it all. So give me 1 second on that. Now, this is a weird thing about Trump. He could be bothered to respond. He could be bothered to do a stump speech about it. He could be bothered to do that, but he can't be bothered to show up or take any defensive action until after, she already basically was awarded the $5 million and then now he's appealing. Is like, you didn't exactly fight. You didn't exactly fight when the fight was happening. Now you're fighting after the fight. Now you're about to now he's about to give this speech about it, but you couldn't show up to court. It's like that doesn't exactly make sense to me. It's like you acting like you don't care, but but now you making a public statement. I don't get that. But maybe, I'm sure he got people on his team smarter than me that said it'll be best if you don't even be seen today. Because you being seen, you doing anything ain't going to help you. It's just going to give them pictures to show of you at court that's going to look bad on you. So maybe that's what it is. But either way, here it is. This was his response.
Clinton appointed judge who went out of his way to.
Damn it, it's not acting right. Give me a second. Damn it. Trying to make it start right at the beginning. Hold up. All right. Video has no sound. Why does this video have no sound? All right. Sound is not working. I didn't want to click on that. Oh, what the fuck? I don't want to see that. Oh, damn. Okay, be careful. Stop the music. You got to be careful when you're in the shade room because they may show some gay I don't know who this is his shade room Instagram. I don't know if that was Saucy Santana. I don't know. Did somebody show somebody that looked gay? That's all I could tell you. And my bad. We wouldn't trying to see that. But these damn blogging media sites, yeah, they gonna you get good news and good stories for your channel stuff you want to cover over here. Like, oh, okay, because they drop everything up to the minute. So you got to follow these things because you may get some breaking news. But you also may get Saucy Santana twerking in your timeline. So you want to get the breaking news, if you see something worth covering, but you gotta be careful. You might get some shit in your timeline you don't want. But all right, I think here it go right here.
A Trump-hating, Clinton-appointed judge who went out of his way to make sure that the result of this trial was as negative as it could possibly be, speaking to and in control of a jury from an anti-Trump area, which is probably the worst place in the United States for me to get a fair trial. We'll be appealing this decision. It's a disgrace. I don't even know who this woman is. I have no idea who she is, where she came from. This is another scam. It's a political witch hunt. And somehow we're going to have to fight this stuff. We cannot let our country go into this abyss. This is disgraceful. You have somebody running for office. You have a woman that's financed and lied about it. She totally lied about it by Democrat operatives, like just about the biggest one there is. And what else can you expect from a Trump-hating, Clinton-appointed judge who went out of his way to make sure that the result of this trial was as negative as it could possibly be, speaking to and in control of a jury from an anti-Trump area, which is probably the worst place in the United States for me to get a fair trial. We'll be appealing this decision. It's a disgrace. I don't even know who this woman is. I have no idea who she is, where she came from. This is another scam. It's a political.
And of course he wouldn't know who she is. I mean, I'm pretty sure I wouldn't out there like Trump, but I'm pretty sure there's some women I ran into and had a, maybe got a little frisky with, at a nightclub that they could knock on my door today. I wouldn't recognize them. So I'm pretty confident that he has no clue who she is. I 100% believe that.
Witch hunt. And somehow we're going to have to fight this stuff. We cannot let our country go into this abyss. This is disgraceful. You have somebody running for office. You have a woman that's financed and lied about it. She totally lied about it by Democrat operatives, like just about the biggest one there is. And what else can you expect?
So, all right. Now, it does look like a political hit job. It do. If he wasn't running for office, this woman would not be seeking some kind of justice for something that happened allegedly 30 years ago. If he wasn't running for office again, it does look like a political hit job. That former President Trump found liable for sexually abusing and defaming E. Jean Carroll. Jury awards Carroll $5 million. That is essentially the gist of it. That is essentially the gist of it. The link is in the chat room for your thoughts on that. Now, the link is in the chat for your thoughts on that. And shout out to my patron. I still don't got the updated list of the patrons, but the link is in the chat for y'all to come on up and give your thoughts on this. What do you think? As far as the election, do you think this will skew or sway the election? In what way? Into what degree? In what way? Into what degree do you think this will sway the actual election? Here's the deal. Trump has hold on. Let me get to my super chats real quick. Salty Balls in the building with the $10 super sticker. Salty Balls in the building with the $10 super sticker. Thank you very much.
Ooh, suck on my chocolate salty balls. Put them in your mouth. Put them in your mouth and suck them and suck them.
Shout out to you. Do appreciate you coming on through. Also, shout out to Does This Mean 304s Are Winning? Yeah. I mean, listen, I've said from the start that whole phrase, the hose is winning. I said the whole manosphere came into existence because men were losing some footing and women were gaining some footing. Gaining some footing means you're winning. Now, so it was so that wasn't that fascinating of a statement to me, I understand why some people debated aspects of it, but it was nothing to debate there. It was nothing to debate there for me. But he said, does this mean Hose is winning? I mean, yeah, we understand that every advantage that women have in this world, while simultaneously convincing men that they're patriarchal bullies who are domineering and controlling and browbeating and abusing them in some kind of way. Meanwhile, they're working all their feminine wiles and political levers and doing every little thing imaginable to gain a foothold to the point to where, you know, you're fighting and paying thousands of dollars just to be able to see your kids more than, you know, the uncle dad parenting time. You know, you don't even get to be a father, you get parenting time. You know, like, yeah. it's like the space, the manosphere comes into existence because of realization that shit ain't going right for men. So yeah, so that part's not a big deal. That wasn't a big deal for me. That wasn't a big
These last $2, I'm not gonna lose.
But Jackie, send me that email I told you to send me, or I told you to, because I get a lot of emails. So I said bump it up, reply to that one email to bump it back up. I don't see where you did that. Oh, yeah, you probably did. You probably did, because you sent it to another email that I don't use as much. Okay, so that was the problem with that. And that was why I don't have that. But give me a second on that. But he said no voting, no bucking. Right. Shout out to Little Big Nate in the building. Says Bernard Riley, patriarchy equals white supremacy, according to shitty leftists and filthy Democrat whores. Patriarchy means white supremacy. I actually saw I read an article on this show because I was trying to pin down what exactly do they mean when they say patriarchy. And I found out that patriarchy means practically everything. I found out that patriarchy means practically everything. Like, I mean, they blamed patriarchy they blamed global warming on the patriarchy. You know, it don't matter whether we're talking about wars, people, you know, the high cost of gas, you know, the polar bears dying, you know, it's all of that got blamed on patriarchy. It was literally setting up things from a pure definitional, I don't even know if that's a word, from a pure definitional standpoint, to where the thing that you are is good. The thing that your opponent is, whatever your opponent is, associate that with bad. Anything that's bad, put your opponent under that label and define them as bad, and you're the opposite, therefore everything is good. So feminism, matriarchy, all of that's good. Patriarchy, evil. The opposite of that is, you know, some variation of what feminists are talking about, therefore good. That was the plan. That was the go-to. That was the strategy. That was the plan. That was the go-to. That was the strategy. And I don't, give me 1 second. I'm sorry. This show was put together on the fly, so I'm missing some of the things. I'm pulling it up right now as I can. But Little Big Nate Show 2 in the building says black men were on the now canceled Tiffany Cross show, equating patriarchy to white supremacy. Yeah, and it's messed up that that's what black men do. It reminds me of that Jamila Hill quote that really made me deep dive into what they're talking about when they're talking about patriarchy. She tweeted, she realized that she said, I'm starting to realize that black men does not want to overthrow the patriarchy. They just want their bigger share of it. They just want a bigger piece of that pie. And to that, I was like, yeah, that makes sense. you know, that makes sense. It's like, why? So when you follow the logic all the way home on stuff like that, what it's essentially saying is, in their mind, black men are not fully and wholly men. We need to be in line behind them in whatever rainbow coalition thing that they're fighting for, that they want. And when the rainbow coalition collective gets their come up, and we're talking women, trans, LGBT, the feminists, and the whole works in that regard. Basically all the minorities and women, when they get they come up, y'all get y'all come up behind that. But that come up is mostly going to be going in the direction of women, where men will more or less, play the supporting character role in the egalitarian matriarchal type of world. Essentially, that's essentially what it is, or how it will come, how it will go, how it will play out. That's essentially how it will play out. But I am joined here by Hood Servative, and glad you came on up. Glad you came on up. Now I can actually go and look for what I'm looking for. But I'm trying to find something. But your boy the Donald, had to fork over 5 mil. So what's your? Well, I don't know if he had to fork it over yet because they're appealing. I don't know how it works, but he's that's what the
Yeah,
chick.
no money is getting.
That what?
No money is being exchanged yet, and no money has been exchanged yet. And then how these things work, like you said, the appeals process. So it could still theoretically be years before she even sees a penny. So it's not over. It's definitely not over. But this whole thing does reek of just a political assassination.
Yeah, that's pretty much the gist of it with me. The main thing that just jumped out to me, it was two things. One, okay, one, based off her story and her story alone, they met at some store in the mall. I just said Macy's. I can't remember the name of the upscale store they was at. They met at Macy's. They were walking through the aisles, laughing, joking, and little banter or whatever. And then the news reporter said, and everything turned dark when such and such happened inside the dressing room. Have you ever been in the dressing room with a woman? Conservative? Oh shit, you going out?
No, I haven't.
You haven't? Okay, I have.
No.
I can assure you, I didn't like grab her and teleport her into the dressing room. It normally happens is that when you're out with a woman and she's, looking for an outfit, and then she find one that she wants to try on, and then y'all start walking back to the dressing room together. And y'all walk back in there together, and y'all just walk right in. Y'all walk right into the dressing room together. And she may or may not change the outfit in front of you. If you let you into the dressing room, she's agreed to change the outfit in front of you. She's agreed. Like shit goes down in the dressing room, okay? And it's like you don't just teleport into the dressing room on a chick. The guy who gets into the woman's dressing room was invited in. It's almost like a vampire situation. You can't let the vampire in your house unless the vampire can't come in your house unless you invite him in. I really don't think he burst through the door like Juggernaut style. No, she let him in even if we go with her story exactly as it fits, it sounds like this woman met Donald Trump out and about, rich, famous Donald Trump, flirting, having a conversation with him, and then ended up, I shouldn't even use the word ended up, they went into the dressing room. No witnesses, but there are 11 people that she told, 11 people that she talked about it the day of and the day after, who are coming back 30 years later saying, yeah, she talked to me about it. Didn't see it. She talked to me about it, and she said she was assaulted. Like, that's what they got, and that equates to $5 million potentially getting extracted from this man. Make it make sense.
I
Oh
think
my God. Oh, go ahead.
I think the improbability of her story is actually like the least concerning thing. Like the fact that it doesn't make sense that you went from like casually flirting on a street corner to being attacked inside of a dressing room with no in between. I think that's the least concerning part, and that's horrible. That right there is horrible. So like even that being as bad as it is, it's more concerning to me that you can basically just come up with a story.
Mm-hmm.
And this is that believe all women kind of stuff coming back to haunt Donald Trump, sort of like not haunt Donald Trump, but this is the believe all women thing, like getting Donald Trump, where because you're supposed to just automatically believe a woman, she could have said that about you or me, but it wouldn't really
Yeah.
gain her much. But she could still make that case up and say, once upon a time, I was walking down a street in Detroit, and this big black guy, he was flirting with me at first, and then the next thing I know, I was in the trunk of his car, and now I see him later doing a YouTube show. It was him. That's the guy. Like, she could do that to you, and what would you be able to say? Like, this bitch lying? That won't matter. That won't do that. People ain't gonna like believe you. They're gonna be like, "Come on, man. You do look like you got a real big trunk." Like people would automatically start putting stuff together in their mind about why you could be guilty, and that's like a psychological conditioning that is way more troubling to me than the fact that hoes lie. Like hoes lie every day, b. We used to know that though. We used to understand that as a people.
Yeah. It's almost like I'm at a loss for I'm at a loss for words on. I mean, your analysis was accurate. The situation you described is what happened. is like she's basically just saying that this dude. I mean, she just made up a story. That's what it looked like. It looked like she just made up a story. That it's a vested interest in this man not running for president again or not getting elected again. Let's just say that he did something. We have no proof. Let's say that he did something. It's enough judges in high enough positions that don't like him or got issue with him or got whatever against him to where off a woman's word alone from 30 years ago, they can muster up the story that this man did some stuff with literally no proof at all. None at all. Now no, hold on, wait. I do want to let me pull this part back up. And you may or may not know what he was talking about here, but it was a part where he was talking about hold on. You may or not know the details of this. I didn't know all the details of this. Let's want to play what he was saying.
Hating Clinton appointed judge who went out of his way to make sure that the result of this trial was as negative as it could possibly be, speaking to and in control of a jury from an anti-Trump area, which is probably the worst place in the United States for me to get a fair trial. We'll be appealing this decision. It's a disgrace. I don't even know who this woman is. I have no idea who she is, where she came from. This is another scam. It's a political witch hunt. And somehow we're going to have to fight this stuff. We cannot let our country go into this abyss. This is disgraceful. You have somebody running for office.
Right here.
You have a woman that's financed and lied about it. She totally lied about it by Democrat operatives, like just about the biggest one there is. And what else can you?
All right. Was that part Trump speculation? When he said you got somebody who's running for office talking about himself, and then somebody who's financed. When he said financed by whoever, was that his speculation, or is there anything out there? Like I said, you may not know anything about this because this is just But was that just his speculation that she's financed by people, or is it something to that?
Yeah, it's definitely speculation. So he
Okay.
has no real. I don't think there is any real paper trail to support that right now. But the question does present itself. Who is the money behind this sort of thing? You got to understand, it's not like, somebody like you or I, we'll have like relatively broke female victims, right? So it's not a lot of money and coming after us, but and going after Trump, there's definitely a lot of money being exchanged somewhere by somebody. It's just, it's opaque. We can't really see who, but it's hard to imagine that she is on this righteous quest all on her own. I would never think something so goofy.
Yeah. I definitely, that definitely looks like the case that she's there's a team, and that I hate to say it, but like that's where we're at, where a team of people get together. Like we see this in movies, we see this in TV shows.
Robert Downey Jr. in the Avengers. Literally, I'm putting together a team. I'm going to need a lawyer. I'm going to need 2 hoes and a black girl.
Yeah. It's like they assemble a team. They pick her to be the lead person who get out there and put her name and everything out there. But so I was wondering if it was a line or a trail or anything that was leading to somewhere we could point to where we knew who was behind it, but it's clearly something behind it. Like it's no legs in that, man. It's something like that just shouldn't be allowed to happen, where somebody just say 30 years ago, we're not even talking about, like, one could even argue in some situations, like there's a such thing as heinous crimes. I got background. There's a such thing as heinous crimes. I'm gonna mute you for a second. There's a such thing as heinous crimes that are bad enough to the point to where, even if it comes up some decades later, it's like, they get you when they get you, if it's a heinous crime. But if we're talking about simply the alleged act of groping in a dressing room, like if that's what we're talking about, it's like that shouldn't be a thing. And how and how does it even come up to $5 million? What if somebody accused somebody who worked at UPS of groping in the dressing room 30 years ago? Does that did UPS man got to pay $5 million? It's like it's like they're playing with it, trumping up the charges, no pun intended, trumping up the charges and the money that got to get paid out. It's all goofy. But Uno in the building with the $5 super chat says it was confirmed it's been financed by a billionaire, LinkedIn founder, and a DNC donor. It was confirmed by him and an article written by Fox News. Find me that article. Find me that article. Find me that article. We will read that on the air. We will read that one on the air. Shout out to Mr. Tobert in the building. Says the judge ruled that Trump couldn't talk about the evidence during the case, i.e., someone can say Trump blanked her, but Trump can't say what really happened during the trial. That doesn't make any sense. Well, you said the judge ruled that Trump couldn't talk about the evidence during the case. I mean, obviously, he shouldn't be able to talk to the public about it. I understand that. But someone can say Trump blanked her, but Trump can't say what really happened during the trial. Do you mean like during the actual court proceedings, or while the trial is in play? While the trial is a thing, he can't say anything or speak on it or speak publicly about it in any way, shape, or form. Is that if that's what you're saying? Or because I strongly doubt that it's a thing where he can't actually say, like you basically, it's not like you're saying he can't defend himself while on trial. That's what it sounds like you're saying.
What do we get for $10? Everything you want.
But thank you for the super chat. Thank you for the super chat. All right. Thank you for clarifying. Thank you for clarifying whatever you're saying here. He says he can't speak on evidence outside of the trial. My mistake. Okay. Yeah. So and that's one of the messed up things about it. Like, it's basically, even though there is money and everything, and it's actually in court, this is really a court of public opinion trial, really, because that's all it is just to try to further ruin the public opinion of him. And so that adds insult to injury if he can't speak publicly about it. I guess he couldn't speak publicly about it until now. So it's almost like that's another trick bag that they got men in, where they can say whatever they want, but then through some type of stipulations you can't publicly respond to it and publicly verbally attempt to clear your name until the trial. So everybody got to view you as guilty until the trial, and then the jury, who heard all the stuff that was going on, formulated their opinion then. So then that means your lawyer got to show up to the courtroom and then pull off some magical hat trick and and get you off after everybody been primed for 2 years on how guilty you were. Like, I was about to say that, but I wasn't even trying to bring Tory Lanez into it. But that's essentially what happened with Tory Lanez. He wasn't allowed to speak on it, but the accuser was able to go on Black Barbara Walters. She was able to go on Gayle, and she was able to go on Gayle and put it out there, spread it out there however she wanted to spread it out there. And then while it's spreading out there, while it's doing its thing and doing what it's doing, the jury is formulating opinions. The trial haven't started yet. Jury might not even be selected. All the jury walk in there unbiased. I don't know who Meg Thee Stallion is, but they walk in there. They walk in there, and then they already got a formulated opinion through the trial of court of public opinion. That court of public opinion informs them on everything that they need to know. Everything they need to know, they already decided. And he was enabled to play with the public opinion. Then a lot of the men who probably in the industry, some of them did speak up and say some stuff. Most of them don't want to say nothing. So if he can't say nothing through court of public opinion, if men truly understood the score, they would step up and start saying some things. Yeah, January, man, media is underrated. That's why I always say us saying the things that we say is never for nothing. It's never all for nothing. Men speaking up online, building their own media platforms and speaking up, that matters. Shout out to Black Wizard Ados. That matters. Men speaking up and saying what's on their mind matters a lot, because when men end up in that situation where the accuser can talk, but the person being accused can't, that's just setting up an L in the future. That's setting up an L in the future. All right. Shout out to Mr. Tobert saying they found him guilty of libel, of abuse and defamation. The way they bring the rules to the jurors is crazy. Yeah. Says media has enough power to make an innocent man guilty. Malcolm X. Absolutely. But all right, shout out to everybody who supported the stream thus far. Shout out to everybody who supported the stream.
I'm so fucking tired of this shit. Fuck this.
Shout out to Mr. Tobert in the building. What's going on? What you got on this?
Hello.
What's up?
Yeah, so pretty much it's all how they when it comes to jurors, how they present the actual like lines, like we talked about before. So like for instance, they'll say, hey, was he guilty of sexually abuse or whatever? And the jury can say, hey, no, not guilty on that count. But then there are like 2 or 3 other counts underneath it. And if the other 2 or 3 accounts they find them guilty of, then usually it's like all getting caboodle, if that makes sense.
Would you, if I understood it right, and I'm sorry, I was reading the post because somebody said they sent something to me through my community tab. Better to send that through the email, but I'll dig it out through the community tab. You commented on my last community tab post, but all right, let me dig that up. But so basically, what you're saying is that he get charged with 3 different things, correct? And they run down the list because I know they couldn't get him with full blown penetration. They couldn't get him with that, but they got him with the sexual assault. So you're basically saying I mean, the sexual assault that can mean anything, groping, who knows, a pat on the butt.
Yeah, so like I see an article from CNN that says juror finds Donald Trump liable for sexual abuse and defamation, which is very vague. It's like, when you mean liable for sexual abuse. So, for example, when I was a juror on the case that I was on, they gave us three different things to roll upon. It was like, hey, did the defendant did the defendant assault the police officer or assault the police officers? And then the other 2 conditions were, did the defendant know that such and such was acting as a police officer in their official duty? And then the third one was, did the defendant know that such and such was a police officer? So, for example, if we all as jurors found that the defendant did know that there were police officers and they're working in their official duties, so we found him guilty on that, but not guilty for assault. So the ones that actually mattered was assault. And so once we said, hey, if he's guilty on assault, then the charge goes to assaulting a police officer, which is a felony case, which is like 6 years per count. So it's 2 police officers, so that'll have been 12 years in prison.
Damn. Yeah, that's more or less what happened with Tory Lanez. It was 3 different things he was charged for. I thought the 2 lesser ones that he was going to get charged with, but they hit him with everything. So yeah, it would have been bad in this case if Trump would have got hit with the big one, the most unprovable one, that it was penetration of forcible penetration of some sort. Yeah, he didn't get hit with that one, but yeah, I get how that goes. But this what's crazy here is even the lesser charge gets a fine. So would have been jail time if it was if it got hit with the larger charge? It would seem like it would have to be, because then that's what you're saying, that he forcibly penetrated somebody. So it just turns into a weird thing. Like it wasn't even operating like a trial where he was going to go to jail. It was just one of those trials where you're just going for the money. In other words, it's like this stuff never makes sense to me.
Yeah, well, it's all about timing, because they're doing all this stuff now once they know that he's running again. So they just want to keep him in the courts, and it's real shady but that's how it is these days.
Yeah, no doubt. And I always say, like, regardless of your politics, where you stand on that, like if you're a man and you see that, okay, this is a woman clearly lying, or just seemingly clearly lying on a man for one of the most contrived, made up sounding stuff ever, and ruining reputation further than what it already was. And you got to pay $5 million just off of her word. Like the implications of that is staggering beyond belief.
Well, yeah, what happened with that Bills kicker that found out that he didn't rape a woman or a girl that snuck into a college party, and he had an alibi, say, yeah, he wasn't even there. And then once the allegations came up, Bills were like, oh, you're gone. A couple years later.
I actually had that ready to go. That was going to be the next thing that
my bad.
That I thought. No, you good. I'm glad you brought it up, because that cued me. I forgot about it. I had it queued up, ready to go. But no, that was the next thing I was talking about. Now this was new to me, because I found out about this like this morning when I was getting the show together. It was sent to me, so this is all new information for me right here. So I'm about to roll this right here.
Last summer, when Buffalo Bills rookie punter Matt Ariza was set to begin his career, it suddenly got cut short. He was immediately cut and released by the Buffalo Bills, unwanted by any NFL team.
All right, let me just say this: we shouldn't leap right to the race. When they would say the punter, I just assumed he was white, and then I'm like, no. Punters never get into trouble, but the one black punter, God damn it. All right.
After an accusation came out of nowhere, Buffalo Bills rookie Matt Ariza accused of lawsuit in involvement in gang rape of minor. And of course, this blew up. When he was at San Diego State for college, he was accused of doing something with someone who was then 17 years old. No charges were filed, of course. But all of a sudden, this lawsuit comes out of nowhere as he's set to begin his NFL career. The Bills immediately released him. They didn't even sit there and wonder. It was like a day or two later, the Bills released him. Well, we're sorry we have to do this, but we just can't have him on this team. Well, now here we are, almost a year removed from all of that happened last summer. And there's a little bit different story in the headlines, one that would have been predictable for a lot of us back in August when he was accused of this. Now we're finding out that everything that this woman accused Matt Ariza of is complete.
Okay, I take that back. Okay, the guy is white. That was somebody else they must have had up there at first. Buffalo Bills rookie Matt Ariza accused of lawsuit. All right, well, I don't know who the guy is on the screen right there.
Oh, that's that quarterback. The Browns. Look at the helmet tape.
Okay, yeah. My bad. I was looking at that. I wasn't paying attention. Should have knew that wasn't the damn Bills. But yeah, they had somebody else up there. That's bad. I don't be knowing some NFL players by their face. I've been so asleep on NFL. But anyway, okay, so it was a white dude. Not that I'm celebrating because he wasn't black, but it was a white dude. Yeah. All right.
In the headlines, one that would have been predictable for a lot of us back in August when he was accused of this. Now we're finding out that everything that this woman accused Matt Ariza of is completely and totally false. Prosecutors, former Bills punter Matt Ariza wasn't present during alleged gang rape of this 17-year-old girl. So of all the things that she said Matt Ariza did, they have proof. They have evidence that he was not at the location when she said this happened. And in fact, it turns out that when you look a little closer into this story, the girl who made these allegations was having consensual sex with a bunch of different people that night, and it was all on video. Matt Ariza, nowhere to be found in that scenario. But we're finding out once again that this woman lied about Matt Ariza, and his life and career were destroyed because of it. Here's Dave Portnoy responding. This is crazy. Guy's life was ruined on rape accusations that he's always denied. Now it comes out he wasn't even at the party when the alleged crime took place. The acquittal should be as loud, if not louder, than the accusations.
Who was sitting on that tape all this time? Somebody would have had to been just sitting on that tape, knowing the truth, knowing she lying, knowing men are being accused, knowing somebody done lost an NFL career, the whole works. Wow. That is crazy. I really want to know who was sitting on the videotape.
Comes from Greg Price. Last August, the Bills cut Matt Ariza after a woman accused him. Evidence is now proven Ariza was not at the house when the woman alleges he did this, and she was having consensual sex with several dudes that night. The woman was having sex with several dudes, some of whom was recorded on a phone, none of which involved Ariza. Meanwhile, the punt god's life was completely destroyed. Now, the whole thing does get pretty graphic, so we're not going to get into all the details. But bottom line, Matt Ariza was at a house party. He left, and then almost an hour later is when the alleged incident took place, and they have video of it, and it's consensual. Now, there was an incident that happened between Matt Ariza and this girl earlier in the night. She went back to her friends bragging about it, about what she just did. But when it comes to the actual big event that she claimed to have happened, they have evidence showing that Matt Ariza was not even there during this. And they also have evidence showing that she was walking around telling everybody that she was old enough, that she was of age, all of this stuff. The entire act is...
So it sounded like she did have some type of sexual situation with Matt Ariza, and then she was going around bragging about that, and then seemingly in the same day, an hour later, she went and got herself in a gangbang, a consensual gangbang, and this is the now if this isn't the same type of thing that's going on here, this man made it into the NFL. She charged him up. Trump running again. This chick is charging him up. It's like they're literally like, at what point is it the whole foundation of them accusing a man of anything is just going to be just a bankrupt process that they just can't even get away with doing? It's
I
like
don't think it will.
Yeah, you don't think it's going to get to a point to where enough of them will be found on some outright bullshit to the point to where it's like they're working against at this point they're working against actual victims, because there's going to come a time where actual victims will not be believed.
Yeah, true. That's only when obviously, like certain women will come up and start to shame, women like this as well. But obviously guys could do it and they're like, oh, they're just being sexist, patriarchy, blah, 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 blah. But until the women actually come up and say, hey, like, smarten up, act right, you're fucking it up for the rest of us, long story short. But I don't think it's really going to, get to that point.
Yeah, because I'm already there on it. Like, it be times when my skepticism be so strong that some evidence can come out that, oh dang, this actually did happen, but I was absolutely convinced that nope, sound fishy. It's like that's where they've brought us to.
But I mean, yeah, that even
where we don't believe shit. They don't believe a damn thing come out their mouth.
Well, I mean, it was on full blast with the Justice Kavanaugh and Blasey Ford incident. The woman's like, oh yeah, I believe her. It's like, no, I don't. There's a lot of reasonable doubt there. So, but different people obviously have different trains of thought. And like going back to the jury, like what some people were saying, I was like, holy shit, like you actually think this on a daily basis, but
Yeah. And what's crazy is well, no, let's look at it like this. What Deion Davis is saying right there. He's like, so now what? Is he going to get selected to be kicker on another team or no? I don't think so, because in my mind, if he was, well, I'll put it like this, if he was really, really good, I mean, and maybe punters could very well be interchangeable. I mean, a good punter, you need a good punter, but what I'm thinking is that probably not. It's very possible not. I mean, he'll get a shot. He'll get a tryout. But you got to think, it's a whole new batch of new punters coming in with no experience, but just finished playing their senior year in college. That they people wanted they'll probably want to try them out before the guy who been off for a year, haven't done nothing since he got through at school. So I mean, unless he was just extremely good, and I mean extremely good, then he might not get picked up.
Or he can just settle for, I guess, well, not the XFL now, it's coming to a close, but Arena League, maybe Canadian Football League, and hopefully jump back into NFL or the NFL if we could. But yeah, career ruined, more or less.
Yeah. I mean, because one thing that people don't know is that the average NFL career, and I definitely noticed an NBA career, the average career, like 2 years, they don't, like, people, like, we remember the names of the people that be in there for 10, 12, 15 years, but no, the average person is in and out. They get in, they finish that rookie contract or that first little contract they sign. If they're not showing enough promise, they get them out. They bring in a new batch of people. It'd be a lot of careers that only last 5 years that, so I'm thinking, so if he was one of those players that was good enough to get in there, but not good enough to have a 15-year career, then they like, those type of people, they come a dime a dozen. They come a dime a dozen. But shout out to Theo Wife in the building. Shout out to Theo Wife in the building with the $50 super chat. Do appreciate. He says, about 4 years ago, police raided my home after a woman gave my address in a sexual assault case. Fortunately, I didn't meet the description of the man whatsoever, so they knew she gave the wrong information. I had no idea who she was. Did she know who you was, or was it just she just gave the wrong address, like had the right street but the wrong numbers? You know, like, because that's crazy.
That can still be tricky too, because they can still look at you and, oh, give me your ID. It's like, dude, like this guy is, 5'3", 130 pounds, soaking wet. But sometimes police can still try to, I guess, go on a dig an expedition. But yeah, that's pretty bad.
Yeah, that is crazy. That is crazy. If it was just a wrong address, then that's not a Omega Dread says simple cops. That's not a Me Too situation. If it was just genuinely she just gave the wrong address, then that's not a situation where they're trying to charge you up with anything. That's something that just had to be sorted out. But still, you don't want them knocking at your door. You don't want them knocking at your door for no reason at all. But thank you, and shout out to Theo Wife dropping 50 on it. Shout out to Theo. Appreciate you. Let's play some more of this.
Consensual. There's no crime there whatsoever. And that's not what the prosecutors are showing, what they've put out there, the evidence that they've displayed for everyone to see. This is absolutely insane. Quote, you had returned and then came back and said you had sex with a guy. This would have been the second person that would have been in the progression of this evening. Again, you're described as being okay, not scared or distraught, seemed happy, seemed consensual. You're not intoxicated at this point. Anybody would know your intoxication level to the point that they would not be able to tell you weren't able to give consent. Matt Ariza deserves a massive apology. Honestly, this girl should go to jail. This bitch, this slut should go to jail. That's what should actually happen.
He went hard after that. Like, I didn't know what kind of show he's on. I don't know if this was a sports show. I didn't know what was going on. He got a little aggressive on that one, but I feel him. I feel him.
You can do whatever you want, have sex with whoever you want. If you start accusing someone of something they didn't do in order to destroy their lives, maybe because you felt bad, you regretted it, somebody found out this happened, you tried to explain it away, they forced themselves on me, and it was a lie that just grew and grew and grew, you should go to jail.
Now, this is a situation. This is legit a situation where the person in question should definitely go to jail. There are some situations where somebody could get accused and you can't really prove it either way. So the dude got found not guilty, but you kind of don't know. But so in that situation, okay, I'll accept that. Okay, we can't necessarily send her to jail if it's a toss-up situation where we really don't know. You can't send a chick to jail because they send the dude to jail on a toss up, but they can't send that's But I'm willing to say send an accuser to jail if you're not really 100% sure if she's lying or not. You can't do that. But when hard physical video evidence is showing that she's lying, showing that he wasn't there, showing that she was whole in her right mind, 100% sober and walking around talking about it afterwards, it's like it's nothing to talk about there. She's clearly being malicious, playing around with the law, playing around with somebody else's life. That's a situation where, hands down, whatever the charges, however much time somebody, the thing that you're accusing him of, if he would have been found guilty, however much time that is, that's how much time you should get. If he would have got 25 years for that, give her 25 years. Give her 25 years for that lie. I stand by that 100%. Stand by that 100%. But we joined by Theo. I think you came up to clarify or speak more on that situation there. But hold on, real quick. Shout out to Tomcat. He says they're after this man like none other now. I wonder why. I think he was referring to the main topic with about Donald Trump. But thank you for the super chat. Do appreciate that. Thank you for the super chat. Do appreciate that. But we gotta go to Theo on this one. What's going on? You about to clarify that
Sure.
this wild, wacky situation you had there.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, you good.
Okay, so what happened was that it was a Sunday morning about 6 o'clock, 6 a.m. I was living on the university campus, and so I don't usually at that time I didn't keep my front door closed. I just kept it unlocked. So I woke up around 6 o'clock in the morning, and there was banging on the door, and then they just opened the door up, and they were coming in. And so I had no idea what was going on. I'm dead tired, right? Both my dogs went nuts and started attacking the police officers. So I was looking at it, I was like, okay, I'm gonna lose my dogs.
Your little bitty friendly dogs was the same dogs you got now.
No, it was another one of them who died. But Chewbacca, yes, Chewbacca was going after one of the police officers, and I put my clothes on, right, and I said, like, what's going on, police officer? And they told me the situation that that my address had been cited for a sexual assault case. And I was like, I have no idea what you're talking about. And I was looking at her, I was like, do you really think I'm getting that much action right now? I mean, like, do you really think I'm doing anything? I mean, look at me. So I was like, I don't even have a bed. So what are you talking about? This is before I bought my bed. So they looked through my house real quick, and they looked at me and everything, and they're like, oh no, you don't meet the description at all of who this person was. So I'm in my 40s at the time, and I'm black and 6 feet tall, and they're like, oh no, we're looking for a white boy. And
called it.
I was just looking at it, I was like, why are you guys in here? What have you done? Like, what's going on? Like, how could it be this bad? And they said they were sorry, and they were looking for somebody else, and they just left. And so I put my clothes on and went outside just to see. They had my whole house surrounded. It wasn't just them walking in. They had about 7, 8 police cars. Yeah, they were ready to do a full-on raid. And like at that time, I wasn't armed at all, so I didn't have anything. I was just totally tired, and they needed to raid a frat 1 block away from my house. So she gave me the address wrong by like 1 number.
It's
so they
funny.
figured it out.
Something similar happened. Well, I wasn't home when it happened. Like my kids was there. The oldest was old enough, or whatever. But so the police they knocked on the door. They came and they were looking for somebody, and they were asking for ID. My kids, they didn't have ID other than like student ID. Like I don't. But they looked around, and one of the cops said it looks different in here. And then they looked at it and was like, oh shoot, we had the wrong house. But it was like 8 cops that came into the house. My kids explained it to me later. It's like they'll do that. When they think I don't know how it works. They think they got their man. They think they at the right house. They want to come right in. And my kids, they ain't innocent. Cops at the door, police officers. He opened the door for the cops, and then they walked in. It's like damn, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, even in that case, they were in the backyard going through the back door. I didn't even see it until later, but they had opened everything up, and I had no idea what was going on. And that was the thing. Like, if I had been violent at all, if I had been shouting at all, they would have taken me out. This is Texas. It would have been an instant death.
Even worse, if you were one of those people who sleep with the gun locked and loaded on a nightstand. Right. And then they came in unannounced. It's like you would have been well within your right to start firing,
start popping them, right? Yeah,
yeah. You would have lost that shootout, but you would have been well within your right.
Speaking of, that actually happened to a guy. Forgot the state that wasn't a sexual assault, but like his fire alarm or his alarm went off at his house, and he called the security company and got it fixed. But the door was still like unlocked or whatever. He was upstairs sleeping, and then the police just walked in, and then he was like, "Who the heck is in my house?" And he was sitting there in his boxers with a firearm in his hand, and the police were like, "Yo, like we're here because of the claw." He's like, "Drop the firearm." They detained him, but they cleared it all up luckily. So
yeah, I think that there needs to be more due process in these kinds of incidents, and actually like communication, and actually like again, under this system, you're innocent until proven guilty, and nobody would have. I was never armed at all. I had 2 cute little dogs, like, what are you like? I mean, after like, why would you ever do anything like that to me? And I just remember that sad morning because, of course, my Cutie, the dog that I totally loved, I remember her, defending me and going straight to the police officers. And I was looking at her and said, "This is the last moment I'm going to see Cutie. They're going to kill her right now." And I said, "Okay, like they're not going to kill me, but they're going to probably kill Cutie." Because she didn't take crap.
You said they raided a frat house.
No, first they did my house, then they raided the frat house.
So the frat house was ideally what they're going for, right?
Right. Yeah.
That makes sense. That makes sense why they had so many officers, because if it was just like, hey, this one guy that lives here, okay, two officers. Oh, it's a frat house. Oh, we got to bring the whole department out here. So that makes sense, but still sucks either way.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, why are you? I mean, it's obvious. I'm just one person in there. I mean, how many people? I'm at a frat house. I was just a 3-bedroom home. That was it. I was nothing. It's obvious there's one guy right there. I mean, you can look at the registration. All my registration was correct. All I had to do was look it up, and then my address and my number of my address is right there. All the unit number information was there. You look at my mail, my name was there. Everything was legit. All you had to do was do some better process. You'd figure it out. Instead, I got to be tortured that morning, and I was just fortunate to be alive. And I was like, wow, I've never, again, lived in Russia, never happened. Lived in France, never happened. Japan, never happened. Been to over 40 countries in the world. Nobody's ever rated me. Nothing, zero. And here in my own country, I get this? Really?
That's and that makes it even worse that they thought they were coming to a frat house. Like how incompetent are you if y'all squatted up with 8 cars to raid a frat house? And you squatted up with 8 cars to raid a frat house. You show up in a single 1-man apartment. You said you didn't have a bed in there. Don't like it was like I'm sure nothing about your apartment looked like a frat house.
No, it did. It did it all. I mean, so I had this was before I had the full-fledged home gym. So I had my treadmill, my Peloton in the front. I didn't even have a TV. I told the story. I had no bed for 9.5 years. So this was just before I bought the bed. So there was no bed in my house. It was just a mattress on the floor.
Why you go that long without a bed?
To discipline myself. I said I only get a bed if I'm stable and I'm making a certain income. And I was true to it. I did not get my bed until I made $600,000 a year.
Wow. So what did you do? You just like slept in a coffin or like a vampire, or like what did you
No, just on a mattress, sleeping bag, something like that. That was the most I did. But I got my money. But
all right.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm gonna go and drop down, but I'm just want to say, like, the process in the United States it's designed to produce tragedies, particularly for Black men. And I say, hey, look, you got to get more evidence, and particularly women who give false allegations, you got to send them right to jail.
Yeah.
Because I mean, the way the system is, it's designed to destroy innocent people, particularly innocent heterosexual men.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, that's just my 2 cents. Hey, have a good day. I'm gonna keep on going back and programming. Talk to you later.
Cool. Thanks for coming through, Theo. Thanks for coming through. Peace.
All right, I'm gonna jump down too. I get back to work.
All right. Yep.
Appreciate it.
All right. Thanks for coming through. Shout out to Judge Zilla the Beast, says the old disguise the frat house as a Black IT developer house trick. You might be on to something. I think you got him. You got him right there with that one. Shout out to let me shout out. I got a new phone, and like I said, I don't know how to work it. I'm like an old person with technology, so depending on the technology. But yeah, it's like once I figured out how to this was like in early 2000s, around 2004-ish. Once I figured out how to play video games online and download porn, it's like I quit learning new technology. It's like, yeah, it's it's like back then, early 20s, I had all I needed. I had all I needed. I was online gaming and online gaming and internet porn. It's like I quit learning technology after that. Once I figured those two out, it was technology was mastered, and now I'm still behind. But shout out to I don't even know what to do with the government name here. R. Wagner. R. Wagner. Shout out to you. Appreciate you. Appreciate you for the $20 cash app. Says just showing support. Shout out to you. Do appreciate you. Do appreciate you coming through, supporting the stream. Omega Dread's filling me on that one. Yeah, you got to keep the text simple. Got to keep the text simple. You don't got to learn all the high tech stuff. You just once you cover the basics, you got it. Once you get them basics, you got it. But all right, let me see. But no, shout out to R. Wagner with the $20 cash app. Let me drop the $20 bomb on. All right. I'll roll the rest of this one.
For the same time as whatever punishment you've accused someone else of doing. Like, that is insane. I hope Matt Ariza gets signed by an NFL team. You try to.
He just said what I just said. Basically, he just put it in a better packaged sentence. He said, whatever you accuse somebody of, if you found out that you were lying, that's the sentence you get. Whatever he was going to get. That'll stop all the false accusations. Like if it could be absolutely proven that you were lying.
Explain it away. Oh, if they forced themselves on me and it was a lie that just grew and grew and grew, you should go to jail for the same time as whatever punishment you've accused someone else of doing. Like, that is insane. I hope Matt Ariza gets signed by an NFL team. I hope the Buffalo Bills give him a massive apology. Hopefully he's able to sue this woman. She's probably not worth anything. Her family's probably not worth anything, but he should sue for everything she's worth. These false accusations.
I support that accusation. Even if he gets back in the NFL, I would still sue her for defamation. He could sue her for whatever his first NFL contract was going to be. If he was going to get paid $1 million to be a punter, to be a backup punter in the NFL, if he's going to get paid $600,000 to be a backup punter in the NFL, whatever it is, let's just say it's $1 million. And she's just a regular chick making regular money. All right. It don't matter. Own her for the rest of her life. Own her for the rest of her life. Make her have to, be garnished. Because, if you're just a regular earning person, if they getting garnished for 10, 15% of your income, 20% of your income, that's going to take you a lifetime to get to that meal. It just is what it is. That just is what it is. So, yep. She'd be a 55-year-old woman still thinking about that stupid shit that she did. Still feeling the effect of it.
Continue to destroy men's lives.
And think about that going forward. If you do sue her, let's say you sue her for a couple million, and every check she get, 20% of it is getting garnished. Think about that. Every guy that dates her, if a guy gets in a serious relationship with her, people get in serious relationships, they find out about each other's finances and blah blah blah, and he may ask the question. It may come up, why her check is, missing 20% of the net that it should be bringing in. That may come up. That may very well come up. And she eventually, at some point in the process, may have to explain to a guy who's taking her seriously that, no, I'm being garnished. I'm being garnished. 20% of my income is being garnished. I owe $1 million to the NFL player, Matt Ariza. Oh, for what? Back when I was in college, when I did a consensual gangbang, I lied and say a guy that just got drafted to the NFL was there, but he wasn't there. I knew he wasn't there, but I lied and said he was. And yeah. Like she may have to explain that one. And a simp just gonna stay with her. I love my baby mama. I never let her go. All right.
That's one of the reasons that people have to stop and wait. You can't just believe all women when they come out and say something. Let me know what you think about all this in the comment section below. Smash a like button, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell for notifications.
All right. No, I just found out about this today. Didn't know nothing about this story. Just found out about it today. But all right. Shout out to all the Patreons. I'm supposed to have an updated list circulating right here. But I do not have it. I got it was sent to me. But I don't got it in possession. But the updated list is just a few names missing off of the list. It's not on the list right now. But shout out to all the patrons. Do appreciate each and every one of you. Patreon content will be uploaded. The show I did when I was breaking down the MTR and Pearl thing, I did take that one down because it was too many. I like to do objective, critical analysis. Some people was going too hard, so I wanted to make it started to feel like a hit piece was being done on MTR. Like we just can't let's just dogpile MTR. It's like no, I didn't come to dogpile MTR, but I did want to give my thoughts and my analysis, my objective breakdown on it. I didn't like the dogpiling because I'm not one of those channels where we attack men who speak up for men just because they did one thing that we disagreed with, and it was coming off like that when the panel opened up. It just looked like a dog pile on somebody who I think to be a good brother who just made a calculated decision that I'm not about to mess with this chick. So it's on the Patreon. And it'll be on members later today. But shout out to Kevin C, Brenda, RM, Paul G. Shout out to Prize or Prisoner, Car Designer Chris, Perfect Blackness in the building. That's it, Perfect Black. Should have said Perfect Blackness. Maurice November, She Sees Sound, the Solo Traveler, Scott Haywood, my very first Patreon, met him in person, Ron 87, Excalibur. Shout out to all of y'all. Shout out to Cortez B, Vincent Lindsay. Those are two of my more recent patrons who just signed up, and there was like 2 or 3 people after them that I don't got. But shout out to Ron, Juan, LJ, Angela B, Marvin T. Shout out to each and every one of you. Uneducated Lame, E Taylor 704, Jonathan Barronville. Shout out to all of y'all. Shout out to Stephens Cole, Perdue, Jerry F, Torrell. Shout out to each and every one of you. Shout out to Cedric M, Rod of God Podcast, my man Sir Tice, Tyrone H. Appreciate each and every one of you. Shout out to Kenneth J, Independent Black Man, J Live. Appreciate you. And shout out to, all right, I think that rounds out the list. Appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you, everybody supporting the stream. Shout out to R. Wagner for the Cashapp. Shout out to everybody who super chatted, everybody who supported in any way, shape, or form. Appreciate each and every one of you. And with that said, ladies and gentlemen, we are out of here. Peace. We go.